Okay, so have you ever heard of OneCoin?
Yeah, it's pretty infamous, right?
Yeah, like one of the biggest financial scams ever. Billions of dollars just poof, gone.
A crypto queen who disappeared and a whole lot of people wondering how they got sucked in.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Trying to understand how something like this happens.
So maybe, just maybe, we can learn to spot those red flags ourselves, right?
Right.
So to piece together this wild story, we've got a bunch of sources.
Yeah, we watched the Crypto Queen documentary,
Read a bunch of news articles, even went down the Wikipedia rabbit hole.
trying to get all those different angles.
The victims, of course, the insiders.
The investigators trying to untangle the mess.
There's even whispers of organized crime involved.
It's crazy.
But we're not just going to, recount the events.
No, we want to go deeper.
Analyze OneCoin strategy, figure out what made it so seductive.
And see if there are any red flags, like big flashing warning signs that we can learn to spot.
Because it's so easy to think, oh, that would never happen to me.
Right. But these scams, they thrive on human psychology.
Yeah, and OneCoin, they really knew how to exploit that.
Especially at that specific moment in time. Like, think early 2010s.
When cryptocurrency was this new, mysterious thing for most people.
Like the Wild West of finance.
And OneCoin, they used that to their advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the documentary shows how they made OneCoin seem so exclusive.
Yeah, like you were getting in on the ground floor of something massive.
Right, and that's where Ruja Ignatova comes in, the founder.
The crypto queen.
Picture this. You're presented with an investment opportunity, and the person pitching it is this, well, she's got an Oxford education.
Experience as a consultant at McKinsey.
I mean, that kind of background, it just screams trust, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Instantly creates this aura of legitimacy.
But it wasn't just her credentials, right?
No, she targeted Bulgaria very strategically.
A place known for its connections and, well, a less strict regulatory environment.
Almost like she was setting the stage from the get-go.
Right. It's like she was planning this from the beginning.
It does seem very calculated, creating this image of legitimacy, but operating in a space where there were fewer checks and balances.
And we can't forget her partner, Sebastian Greenwood.
Ah, yes, the marketing mastermind.
The documentary highlights how they tapped into that Bitcoin craze, but promised something even bigger and better.
Classic.
Yeah, like dangling a bigger, shinier carrot.
But how did they actually make the scam work?
Well, the news articles I've read, this wasn't some, small-time operation. They'd had a whole system.
Oh, yeah.
It was multi-layered.
Seductive.
And honestly, kind of scary how well they knew how to reel people in.
And it all boils down to human psychology.
Exactly. So it wasn't just like buying one coin like you would Bitcoin.
No, no, no.
You had to buy these, well, they call them educational packages.
Expensive educational packages.
That supposedly, held the secrets to crypto trading. But as some of the lawsuits allege, a lot of that content was, well, plagiarized.
Basically smoke and mirrors.
It made it seem like there was value and expertise where there was actually none.
Exactly.
But people bought it.
They bought it big time.
And here's where it gets even wilder. You made money not just from the coin itself, but by recruiting others.
Multi-level marketing. MLM.
You've probably heard of those companies where people sell, makeup or supplements.
And they make more money by getting their friends to sign up as sellers than by actually selling the product.
Exactly. That's MLM.
And that's what OneCoin was doing.
Only the product was a worthless cryptocurrency.
A classic Ponzi scheme structure.
And that structure, it's at the heart of so many of these scams.
It creates this social pressure, like your friends, your family.
Even your whole community gets involved.
The more people you recruit, the more money you make.
It feeds on itself, this cycle of greed and misplaced trust.
Exactly.
And OneCoin, they were masters at this.
Oh, they knew what they were doing.
They held these giant events. Remember that one at Wembley Stadium?
Oh, yeah, I saw the footage in the documentary. It's wild.
Tens of thousands of people cheering, convinced they're about to get rich.
That kind of energy, it's contagious.
It really is.
When you see that many people seemingly buying into something, it makes you question your own doubts.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
We're social creatures. We're wired to follow the pack.
Especially when there's a promise of wealth involved.
It's tough to be the lone voice of reason in that kind of environment.
Yeah, very tough.
And to keep that momentum going, OneCoin, they created this fake exchange.
A fake exchange, but with limits.
Limits on how much you could cash out.
Just enough to keep those early investors happy.
And recruiting, of course.
all while hiding the fact that OneCoin itself was completely worthless.
The whole thing was just this carefully constructed illusion.
A house of cards just waiting to collapse.
Speaking of those early investors, did you read about that Ugandan student?
The one who sold all of his possessions to invest.
It just breaks your heart.
It really does. It's a stark reminder of how hope can be manipulated.
This wasn't just greed.
No, it was a desperate desire for a better life.
And OneCoin, they preyed on those aspirations.
Especially in countries where financial opportunities were limited.
It was the dream of escaping poverty.
A dream that made people incredibly vulnerable.
And for most people, that dream didn't have a happy ending.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, it's tough to hear those stories.
It really is.
You know, families ruined, lives turned upside down.
That feeling of betrayal.
It's all there in the documentary.
It's a stark reminder that behind all the financial numbers, there are real people.
People who suffered real consequences.
Yeah, and it really underscores the importance of, like, recognizing those red flags.
The missed signals that, looking back, should have set off alarm bells.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
We're not just telling a story. We're trying to figure out how to protect ourselves.
How to spot these things before we get caught. And the sources we have, they actually highlight something really crucial.
Oh, yeah?
Warnings about OneCoin were out there as early as 2015.
Wow.
Financial authorities in several countries,
Like where?
Bulgaria, Finland, even the Bank of Thailand, they all raised concerns.
But they were mostly ignored, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess people were blinded by that promise of getting rich quick.
I think so, yeah.
Or was OneCoin just that good at discrediting anyone who criticized them?
It's probably a combination of both. Remember, they built this whole narrative of being a victim of the establishment?
Yeah, like the big banks were scared of them or something.
Exactly. They claimed traditional financial institutions felt threatened by their supposedly revolutionary technology.
So they basically encouraged distrust in anyone who questioned them,
Pretty much, yeah.
which unfortunately is a tactic that actually works.
Oh, it's very effective. When you're caught up in the hype, it's easy to dismiss any criticism as negativity.
Right. Like, oh, those people just don't get it.
Exactly.
Which brings up a really important question. How do we stay skeptical without becoming cynical?
That is the question, isn't it?
Or like closing ourselves off to new possibilities?
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, it really is.
I think education is key, like understanding how these scams work, seeing the common patterns.
Being willing to ask the tough questions.
Exactly.
That's where it starts, right?
Absolutely. And it's about not relying only on the information coming from the people selling you something.
Okay, so do your own research.
Yes. Look at different sources, talk to different people.
That's especially important when it comes to investments promising huge returns with little to no risk.
Yeah, that right there, that's a giant red flag.
Okay, so let's talk about how OneCoin actually fell apart.
Yeah.
This wasn't some, slow fade. It was a dramatic collapse.
Oh, yeah. Raids, arrests.
And even a vanishing act.
It all started unraveling in 2017, the year Ignatova, the crypto queen herself, vanished.
Hoof, just like that.
Last seen boarding a flight to Athens.
And then
Gone.
the documentary even hints that she may have had help disappearing.
Possibly from powerful figures who had a vested interest in keeping her quiet.
It sounds like something out of a spy thriller.
It does, doesn't it? And it highlights a chilling reality, financial crime on this scale. It often involves individuals and organizations operating in the shadows.
Yeah, like organized crime.
Potentially even governments.
It's a darker side of the financial world that most people don't see.
Exactly.
But even with Ignatova gone, OneCoin's house of cards kept crumbling.
Yeah, Sebastian Greenwood, the marketing guru, he was arrested in Thailand in 2018.
Then in a really dramatic twist, Ignatova's brother, Konstantin, who took over OneCoin.
He was arrested in the U.S. in 2019.
And he flipped, right?
He did.
Right.
Agreed to cooperate with authorities and even admitted that OneCoin was, in his words, a worthless cryptocurrency.
Wow.
His testimony was a major blow to the scheme, really provided investigators with inside information.
About how OneCoin operated and the extent of the fraud.
Exactly. It helped to peel back the layers of the deception.
And we can't forget about the lawyer, Mark Scott.
Who was sentenced for money laundering.
It's a reminder that even professionals in seemingly legitimate roles can get caught up in these schemes.
Whether knowingly or not.
Right.
It's a tangled web of complicity.
And it highlights the need for accountability at every level.
Yeah, everyone involved has a responsibility to ensure they are not facilitating illegal activities,
Even indirectly.
even indirectly.
But the mystery of Ruja Ignatova remains.
Yeah, where is she?
Is she living a lavish life under a new identity?
Or did something more sinister happen?
It's a question that continues to fascinate investigators and journalists.
And as we saw in the documentary, some people believe she might be hiding in Dubai.
A financial hub where it's relatively easy to disappear.
Exactly.
Remember Ram, the Icelandic model who introduced Ignatova to Greenwood?
Yeah.
She even traveled to Dubai hoping to find her.
It adds that true crime element to this whole saga.
It really does.
Though it's important to remember the real victims here. While the search for Ignatova continues, the focus should remain on bringing justice to those who lost their savings.
And holding accountable those who perpetrated this massive fraud.
Absolutely.
But what's truly shocking is that OneCoin is still operating.
I know, it's hard to believe, isn't it?
Albeit under different names.
Same scam, just repackaged, preying on new victims.
So they've adopted different names, updated their marketing.
But the underlying structure of the scheme remains unchanged.
They're exploiting the same human vulnerabilities.
That longing for quick riches.
And the same lack of understanding about how cryptocurrency actually works.
Exactly.
It's a sobering reminder that scammers are constantly evolving, adapting their tactics.
To exploit new opportunities and target new demographics.
Remember that interview in the documentary with the Finnish investor, Tommy B?
Oh yeah, the guy who's still defending OneCoin?
Even after everything that's come out.
It's almost like he's been brainwashed.
It really is.
It demonstrates how insidious these scams can be. They can be so persuasive, so alluring.
That even when confronted with overwhelming evidence, people cling to the belief that they've found the secret to wealth.
It's the power of belief, even in the face of facts.
It's a powerful reminder that the dangers of financial scams are persistent, even when they've been exposed.
There will always be someone looking to exploit the next opportunity.
The next knowledge gap.
The next group of people hoping for a financial miracle.
And that's why vigilance is key.
Absolutely.
It's crucial to stay informed.
Be aware of the latest scams and trends.
And approach any investment opportunity with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Remember, if it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is.
It probably is.
You know, it's unsettling to think that something like OneCoin can still be going on, even after all the exposure it got.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what we can actually learn from all this.
Like, we don't want this deep dive to just be about shaking our heads at this huge disaster.
Right, it has to be about empowering ourselves.
Exactly. Becoming smarter about how we handle information.
And protecting our own money, honestly.
So what does this all mean for us, like the average person trying to make good financial decisions?
Well, the first thing, you got to do your homework.
Okay, so don't just take someone's word for it.
Never, no matter how impressive they seem.
Especially when they're promising, those unbelievable riches.
Right, and this goes way beyond crypto.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, any investment opportunity that sounds too good to be true.
It probably is.
It probably is. That's a simple rule of thumb.
But people forget that, especially when they get excited.
They really do. It's easy to get caught up in the moment.
So research is essential.
Absolutely.
Talking to a trusted financial advisor.
Yes. Get a second opinion.
Being cautious about anything that guarantees, quick money with minimal risk.
Those are huge red flags.
That makes sense.
And history is full of examples.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, think about the tulip mania centuries ago, the dot-com bubble more recently. There's a long line of scams built on exploiting that desire for easy wealth.
And hasn't it gotten even trickier now with social media?
Oh, absolutely.
It's so easy to get swept up in the hype,
Yeah.
See your friends supposedly making a fortune on some new investment.
And then you feel like you're missing out.
Exactly, FOMO.
We're drowning in information these days.
Yeah, it can be really hard to separate fact from fiction.
Like, is this a genuine opportunity or a cleverly disguised scam?
It's tough to know.
That's why it's more important than ever to hone those critical thinking skills.
So, like taking a step back.
Yes, asking yourself, is this really as good as it seems?
And if you're ever unsure,
don't be afraid to get a second opinion.
talk to someone you trust.
A financial advisor, a friend who knows about investing, anyone who can offer a clear-headed perspective.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into OneCoin, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
What would you have done if someone pitched you on investing in OneCoin?
It's a good question.
Would you have done your due diligence?
Resisted the allure of quick riches.
It's a thought experiment worth doing.
Because any of us can be vulnerable to these scams.
Yeah, it's not about being smart or financially savvy,
It's about understanding the tactics that scammers use,
and being prepared to question what you see and hear.
even when it comes from people you trust.
Knowledge is power, right?
It really is.
The more we understand about these scams, the less likely we are to fall victim to them.
That's the goal.
So stay informed, stay skeptical, and as always,
Happy deep dive.
happy deep diving.